Hey everybody, welcome back. Thanks a lot. We're doing another video, another question. The question today is, what about God and tragedy? Come here, Zoe. What about God and tragedy? This is my daughter, Zoe. Say hi, Zoe.
Hi.
She'll be 18 in a couple of months, so you can get out. No, just kidding. But I want to tell you a little story about Zoe. Just wanted you to meet her because I'm about to ask you a little question, tell you a little story about Zoe in order to answer this question. All right? So Zoe's 17, right? Okay. Now the question is, when something happens really heinous to somebody, is that God's will? Like if your daughter gets kidnapped and raped, like I heard about a story about a young elementary kid getting kidnapped and raped, right? And some person who I'm sure was well-meaning said, well, you know, I'm sure God did that for a reason. I'm sure he has a purpose behind it. And I'm like, are you kidding me? What? So you're telling me God's sitting up in heaven and God goes, you know, I want to teach that little kid's parents a lesson. And what is the best way to teach them the lesson that I want them to learn? I think I'll have their daughter kidnapped and raped. What? Okay, so let me answer that because I think that's crazy, all right? I'll answer that by telling you this story first. My will for Zoe is that Zoe bring home a dude whose pants are all the way up, right? Who studies in school, who is respectful and has a future, right? That's my will for Zoe. But Zoe will be 18 in a couple of months, right? So although that's my will for her, I have a larger will for her. And my larger will for my daughter is that she learn how to pick a good dude and learn how to live with her decisions, right? And that she be free to be an adult. Because I can't be making all her decisions for her, right? So my will for her is for her to pick a good dude with his pants all the way up, you know, less than 100 tattoos, and a future, right? Somebody who's studying in school and trying to be somebody, right? But let's say she goes out and she picks a dude whose pants are way down here. He's got all these face tattoos and piercings, so his job opportunities are very limited because of all of his face tattoos, right? He doesn't believe in the system, so he doesn't want to go to school, right? So he's probably not going to be able to take care of my daughter very well, but she loves him. But she's 18 now, right? So although my will for her is to bring home a particular kind of dude, my overarching will for her is for her to have free will and do her thing. So I'm not going to stop her. I'm going to let her make that decision and live with her decision. We all have to make decisions and live with our decisions, right? And you could say, well, if you don't stop her, then that means you really want her to be with that dude. That doesn't make sense, right? Just because I don't stop her doesn't mean I want her to be with that dude. Doesn't mean it's my will for her to be with that dude. My will is just for her to be free to make her own decisions. And I'm not going to stop her because I believe she, you know, I guide her and I give her some guidance. She can either listen to me or not. Now, how do I apply that to the question, is it God's will when heinous, terrible stuff happens to people, like kidnap and rape? Listen to this and see if you can make the correlation between that story and this explanation. Let's say a person's daughter does get kidnapped and raped, right? Now, it's God's will. That's not because God willed it. That's because this is a crazy, messed up world, and there are crazy, messed up people in this world who do crazy, messed up stuff. Now, it's God's will that everybody read the Bible and live accordingly. God tries to guide us and lead us. He leaves us his word to read, right, and to learn from and to live accordingly. But his overarching will is for us to have free will and do our thing, right? And so if somebody goes out and they kidnap and they rape a little girl, I don't say, well, that was God's will and he must have a purpose in it. There must be a reason why he willed that to happen, why he wanted that to happen. No, I say God never wants that dude to do that. Never wants that to happen to that little girl, right? It's his will that people live and love each other and take care of each other and are good to each other and don't do crazy stuff like that. That's his will. But his overarching will is that man has free choice. And man has free will to either follow him or not follow him. And you could say, well, if God doesn't intervene and stop the rape and kidnapping from happening, then that means God really wanted it to happen. Right? Just like you say, if I don't stop Zoe from bringing home this knucklehead, that means I want her to be with a knucklehead. No. If God doesn't stop this from happening to this little girl getting kidnapped or raped or whatever the terrible thing happens, just because he didn't stop it doesn't mean he wanted it to happen. Right? He didn't stop it because he wants man to have free will, to make choices. Some of them good, some of them bad. Some of them holy, some of them evil. So when something bad happens to somebody, yourself or somebody else, don't let somebody go, well, God must be trying to teach you a lesson. That's why you lost both legs in a car accident. Now, just ask God what he's trying to teach you. Maybe God wasn't trying to teach you anything. Maybe we live in a crazy world where crazy stuff happens. That's why we look forward to going to heaven where there won't be any more car accidents and no crazy stuff happens. Right? Rather than to say God must have willed this terrible thing to happen. Because if it wasn't his will, it wouldn't have happened. Right? Because his will is that to let us live in this crazy world that we have chosen. Right? He gave us a perfect world and we didn't want it. So we chose to live in this crazy world. He lets us live in it and crazy stuff happens. That's his will. Right? So hopefully that was helpful. Hopefully you understood that. And I love you. And God loves you. I'm going to shut the video off, Zoe. And we'll see you on the next video. All right? Love you very much.